Hello and welcome everyone to Conversations with Tona Brown. I am here with a mentor of mine by the name of Kevin E. Taylor. He is a bishop and minister in New Jersey, if I'm not mistaken. And I am so excited to have this conversation with him because everyone knows that right now in America, we have so much going on politically. And so many people are nervous about what is to happen when Donald Trump take office, especially the LGBTQIA community. So I wanted to bring Bishop Taylor on so that we could talk about these things and give people some hope for the future. So welcome, Mr. Taylor. How are you
Welcome,
doing?
Queen Tona. I'm so happy to be here. You know, you're one of my favorite people.
Oh my goodness. I remember when I was on your show right before my Carnegie Hall debut in 2014, I believe it was. And
2014.
it was a wonderful show called Now What with Kevin E. Taylor.
That I'm
And you
thinking
had
about bringing back because I feel like it's the season for it.
it really is.
Yeah.
We need it. I love what you're doing. I've been pointing people on my Facebook page. Anyone go to Tona Brown with the blue check, you'll see that I'm going to be sharing some things that he does. And I like the conversation series that you kind of have going on yourself when it in your car
Before I get out
before
the
you get
car.
out
Yeah.
the car. What is it called?
Before I get out the car.
There you go. I absolutely love it. And so I want to point people to it. I want people to support you. And I want people to listen to your inspirational messages, especially during this time. So tell us a little bit about what is new with Kevin E. Taylor.
So, as you said, I think I started before I get out the car maybe a year ago. Literally, I was getting ready to get out the car, and God was like, wait, grab this. And I put the camera in the windshield and started talking. And it went for just 2 or 3 minutes. And what happened is I posted it to Facebook.
Mhm.
And I started to get people, artists, writers, friends, who did something that they didn't normally do before. And they started commenting and texting saying, if you're wondering if this is the thing, this is the thing. Right. And so that was kind of wow. They were like, it's just the right kind of gut check walking into the building, or right before I go into the interview, or right before I step into this thing I'm about to do. So before I get out the car is happening. I've also, as you just said, I've been bishop as of October with Unity Fellowship Church Movement Incorporated, which is LGBTQ affirming, but African American worship experience from around the country. And we're also in Jamaica, and it looks like we may be in Germany and Paris soon as well.
Oh
And we've
my.
got outreach ministries in Kenya and Uganda.
Oh
So
my goodness.
there's that. And then in my professional life, I'm the director of development, communications, and fundraising, development, fundraising, and communication for an organization here in Newark called NJCRI, who Dionne Warwick just played Celebrity Wheel of Fortune for.
Oh.
My mentor is her publicist. And when she wanted an agency, he gave her us. And so she won us $30,000. So.
Congratulations. I remember performing at one of your churches back in the day, and I would love to come up and do it again because
Please, please, please.
I'm going to be doing a concert series where I go around to these different churches that have concert series in my local area. And I just feel that it's so important right now, especially because transgender people were used so maliciously in this last campaign. And I love dispelling stereotypes. So you guys will see me. I'm not cowering away or anything. In fact, I'm raising money to do more things, not only for this show Conversations with Tona Brown, but also to travel the world and do some things that are needed, speak to some different people and see what's going on around the world for people like myself and others. So tell me a little bit about what it's been like to be ordained as a bishop.
So I am blessed to have New York, New Jersey, Connecticut, Delaware, Pennsylvania, Maryland, and DC as my jurisdiction, so I can get to all of it in about 3 hours, 3.5 hours. So it's good to be able to be that connectable. I've had to do a funeral in Maryland recently. Had to get to meet with my Philly congregation. So it's really impactful for me because it feels like I just turned 60 on September 4th. And it feels like all of the parts of me are useful for this, right? the parts that work with people in their faith journey and their struggle, the parts who feel like somebody queer like them can't know creative and professional success, the parts that feel like you can't have reconciliation with your family and be free in who you are. And I have a son, who I adopted when he was 13, who just turned 35. He's got a wife and 3 kids.
Wow.
And all of them are members of the church. And just getting people to realize that your whole life shows up when all of you shows up in it. Because sometimes we can be very compartmentalized, thinking that people can only take so much of us. But people can only take so much of you when they only know so much about you.
That's true.
And it's just really important, to show people that, I did a whole campaign with Marco Hall, a designer here in Newark, who's worked with Jill Scott, with Felicia Rashad, with Mickey Taylor from Essence, with Natalie Cole, with, he's doing Brittany Howard from Alabama Shakes. And it does me. And so we did this whole reimagining Bishop campaign where we just pulled a bunch of purple fabrics and he made everything from a sheer jumper to, a bomber jacket and some wide palazzo pants, and we shot all over Newark. And the conversation I wanted to have with people is that you haven't gotten the life you want because you're still sitting in the pew as a member. And the truth is, in your life, your professional life, your spiritual life, your actual life, you're supposed to be the leader. The leader in spirituality is the pastor. And the bishop is the pastor's pastor. And people still want to live like members when you're supposed to step up and pastor, lead, direct, guide your life, build the team of your life, and then come to the filling station, church, to get what you need to keep building, to keep being, to keep going. And I think that because so many of us in the queer community haven't tapped in fully to our capacity for audacity, the idea of bigness scares us. But we don't understand that our presence scares some other people.
It does.
And the fact that we stand up and stand strong and come out is impactful for people because they're still sitting in shame, still sitting in secret, still sitting in the story of abuse and depression and loss. And here we are fluttering out and they think we've got it made. We don't. People still have their struggles. But each of us has the opportunity, the authority to be big. Nobody's here to be a spectator. Nobody says, I want to be vice president. They will walk into it and make it big, but nobody wants to sit second seat. Everybody wants center stage at some point.
That's right.
And that's what I'm really trying to get people to get. You're not crazy, you're called.
Oh my goodness. Thank you so much for that word on this day. I knew you were going to have some inspirational things for us, and we really do need it. And also, what I love about your ministry and so many of the others that I follow is that so many of us have had religious trauma.
Oh God, yes. Church hurt.
And you
hurts.
don't shy away from it, and you embrace it, and you let people feel comfortable. What kind of words can you have for those who know that their calling is to go to church or just to be a part of a larger community, but they're so terrified because of past traumas with religious institutions?
Tona, I'm so glad you asked it like that because for us, Black and brown folk, church and community were often the same thing. It's where it's where we first met some of the people we weren't blood related to that we called uncle and auntie. It's where we first stayed all day. It's where we first heard something, a song or a sermon that made us feel like something outside of me knows me and is paying attention to me. And so what I've been saying to people, I've been driving this truck hard in 2025, is that I'm coming to tell people that you're not only not crazy to need that community, it is why you haven't flourished like you want to. Because the truth is, we are a communal people. And while you may not be able to go to that church, you need to be in some space where you realize that you are not an accident, that you are here on purpose, with purpose. And part of where the struggle is for people, Sister Queen, part of where the struggle is, they don't get the real trick. The trick of the enemy was to tell the bright butterflies, the L, the G, the B, the T, the Q, the I, the A, and the plus, tell y'all, God don't like y'all. And so how do you then stand up in bigness, stand up in power, stand up in all of your glory when not only have you been told that the great I am, the big entity, spirit, energy, light doesn't like you, but it has also crippled you so that you never go back to the source to see what the source said about you. And listen, let me tell you why people don't like LGBT coming out. Because once we come out, we're through with secrets, right? We're through with secrets and shame. And so if you could imagine what it's like for somebody to say, and so-and-so don't like you, we'll be like, wait a minute, let me ask her. So-and-so said you don't like me. And they'll look at your face and say, I ain't say that, why she say that? Well, I mean, when you call it out, when you call it up, you get to clear it up, right? And so
That's right.
imagine being able to go to God, and God says, and you say, look, Lord, I don't know what it is, but I thought we was friends and you always loved me. And and God says, who told you you were naked? I made you, not you yourself. I love
That
you, and
part.
I know you, and I need you. I know who I made. Get on with what I told you to do. Go to the Carnegie Hall and sing. Boy, go on up in that pulpit of that fundamentalist church and shout them down, because I know who I sent in.
That's
And the
right.
trick is to get us disconnected from spirit, so that we never go back to spirit to check in with God in the front. They preach loud from pulpits and say God don't love the homosexual. God don't love. And I was like, I haven't seen a day yet where all the gays just disappear. All this God
Not
don't like.
one.
Trans women have not disappeared. The non-binary didn't show up and then go away. So the idea that people have given people authority to speak for God.
Mm, mm.
I know I have tried to hold my breath thinking, I'm mad, God, but okay, because I'm not in charge of my breath. The fact that people, well, my pastor said, you can't possibly be listening to your pastor about thou shalt not be lesbian when thou shalt not be lesbian is not on the list. But being a fornicator is, but being an adulterer who has had a baby out of wedlock with some other woman in the church is on the list, and he's still in that pulpit.
That
He's
part.
still in that pulpit. But they say the homosexual. Oh, that's right, Pastor. Tell him. Keep it on the list. And people have let people damned into hell while they got some pimp in the pulpit telling them what God didn't say while he's
That
breaking
part.
actual laws on the list. He's
That
stealing
part.
from the church. He's being
Uh,
an adulterer. He's bearing false witness. I was like, y'all, God didn't update this list. This ain't AI. This is not Apple. This did not update. It's still this top 10 list.
that
And y'all
part.
forgave adultery with somebody in it, the wife on this pew and the side piece with the babies on this pew. Y'all ain't kicked none of them out. You found grace and mercy for all of them. Yet you telling somebody because of an eyelash, because of a heel, because of something they aren't welcome in God's house. Woe unto you, you vile hypocrites.
Exactly. And that's always been my stance. And that's why I still sing my spirituals and do what I have to do, because I know I'm blessed and
We know it.
divinely.
I couldn't have done it, baby. I hold the office of bishop. I have interviewed some of the greatest as a producer. I've sat with Natalie Cole, Tina Turner, Shaka
Mm,
Khan, Diana Ross, Patti LaBelle. I went to a foreign country to interview Tina Turner. I couldn't have done this.
mm-hmm.
That little fat black asthmatic gay nerd from the project, and this is who I am. Only God, and I know somebody can't stand me saying gay and God. I don't care. But listen, there is. Let me tell you a story real quick. There's a brother who is a porn star by the name of Venom, who I saw on Facebook once, and he had on a shirt at a Pride that said, Jesus loves gay porn stars.
Mm-hmm.
And me sitting in the office of pastor, and I think it might have been 2002 or 3, right? It was early in my pastorate, not in my walk of faith, not in my relationship with God, but in my walk as a pastor. I saw that T-shirt, and let me tell you, I had a moment of, oh, that's a bit much. And the voice of God came to my ear and said, Kevin, if that is not true, you can stop preaching right now. I was like,
I remember that
remember,
interview.
and it said Jesus loves. God said, if nothing can, everything goes here. And if you don't
That's
like that, then you can stop talking about my son. You can stop. And I was like, and so on Now What with Kevin E. Taylor, I interviewed Minister Kevin Lives, who in
Mm-hmm.
fact is Venom, who in fact is that porn star, right?
Yeah.
And he was just kind of like, we became friends. And I found out his name was Kevin. I found out he got ostracized by the church, and this whole journey was his to the church. It was like, see, y'all did that. The devil didn't do that. Church did
Mhm.
that.
Yeah.
And that's
Yeah.
the first time I ended one of my Now What interviews in prayer. We took hands,
Mm,
and Kevin to Kevin, we prayed, and that thing lifted me in ways that I felt like, oh, this is heaven on earth.
mm-hmm.
That I am my brother's keeper. That this is my brother and my son at the same time. That this is this is God. And if we don't like it, then take it up with God.
That's right. That's right. And I'm constantly talking about that on this show, that all people are loved by God, y'all. All people. And if you're a part of any institution that tells you something else, that's when you need to keep it, kick rocks, and find a place that is really teaching the word. I got to tell you, I knew you were going to say something that was going to get us fired up, but I didn't know you were going to break it down like that. Thank you so
Well, you
much.
know, it's really, y'all know just we're at the top of the year. And so everybody's in that space. Like, what do I need to say to myself going into the new year? What is the world saying to me going into the new year? What's going to happen with the installation of this new regime? And that it's happening on Dr. King's birthday.
Mm-hmm.
It's really the convergence of all of who we are. And we have to take the time to sit with it. You said this just earlier. We want to avoid it. We want to not talk about it. And we can no longer avoid it because I'm doing this show with you because I knew we were going to talk about faith. I knew that, you see me as mentor. I knew I appreciate and respect you as talent. I know that in the community, they think the gay men and trans women don't get along. I was like, all of the things that are debunked by this conversation, we had to do it for so
That's
that
right.
somebody could go, I know that, I know. But what about Trump and what he's going to do? What about Jim Crow? What about enslavement? We have been in this hole before, and we know the way out. It is why our existence scares the literal hell out of some people, and it calls them to
Absolutely.
start talking stupid because there are people who wonder how either one of us is still alive. They wonder how our great grandparents ever made it. They wonder how our mamas paid for rent and got us through school when they sometimes didn't eat. They wonder, and we are living proofs of God's magnanimous truth that I made you, not you yourself. You ain't had nothing to do with this. Do what I said and get on with it.
That's it. That's it.
Mark 11:24.
Drop the mic.
Whatever it is you ask for in prayer, whatever, if you say it, believing that you receive it, it's already yours. Boom.
Drop the mic. Like I tell you, that's why I needed you to come, and thank you for answering my call. I know you're so busy during this time of year. And I really appreciate it because I'm gonna tell you, after the election, some of my friends, and I have friends in high places, and some of them are journalists and different things, and it was just so much doomsday. And I was like, what y'all not gonna do is bring that to me. We're not going to do that. We're going to talk solution based, and we're
Listen,
going to
listen,
just take.
Sister Queen, watch this. At the top of the pandemic, a journalist asked me, "So how does it feel for you in a faith-based capacity to be empowering and motivating people in the middle of a pandemic? Because we've never seen anything like this before." I said, "I'm a black gay man. The black community saw crack. The gay community saw AIDS. It's my third pandemic, girl. Come on, be
Okay.
something else." Because we're gonna get
I
through
know
this
that's
because
right.
we've been in these holes before.
We
We know the
have.
way out. So the good, it's like to be able to pour into people in real ways. Because there were people who came to me like for real from the community who were like, I mean, Pastor, I get what you're saying, but what about this vaccine? I don't know what it is, and I'm worried because remember the Tuskegee experiment? I said the experiment was they gave them the syphilis, not the cure. And right in front of your face, they're gonna hold on to the cue and say, "You don't want this, do you? You don't want to be well, do you?" You go, "Yeah, Tuskegee." And then I went to, because at the time I was working for the municipality, the city where I work, in the Department of Health and Community Wellness. And we had a
Mhm.
snowstorm one day. We didn't close because we didn't, right? We were open, but if you couldn't get there, it was all right. Walked in there, and in Newark, a very, very metropolitan brown and a very black city, in the entire lobby was all white folk from out of town, from outside of Newark, who were like, "Oh, good, they've got shots available.
Mhm.
Mama, Daddy, I'm gonna bring up the truck and pull up there." It was pickup trucks along the whole sideway. The whole lobby was not African American. And I said to
Mm.
people, "Y'all better get up here and get these shots because they're waiting for y'all to die so they can
Mhm.
take the medicine."
Absolutely. It's the
And the
same
funny
thing.
thing, and then
What's interesting too, it's
yeah,
something similar with this whole notion that we shouldn't be voting. As people of color, that blows my mind. I'm sitting there like, what?
our vote don't
I,
count anyway. Of course, a not counting vote doesn't count. But if your vote doesn't count, why they after it so hard? Why is that the first thing they take from you when you go to jail? And then they try to make sure you go to jail.
that part.
Get
Hello.
into it. And then here's the funny thing. I'm so glad. that the pandemic happened. And then inside of it, remember we had a little epidemic inside the pandemic when
That's right.
monkeypox went crazy.
That's right.
And then all of a sudden, people are like, I know you work, I know you work at NJCRI, y'all got you. Can you get me on the list? Yes, yes. People are standing in the line, hey, can we talk to somebody about PrEP? Yes, yes. Because what we're not going to do is die when they got a shot for it. That's what we're not going to do. Now, we're not going to, oh, you don't want to do it. I'm going to leave you over there to die. I'm not doing that. I was going into public places. One woman said, I'm not taking that shot. I don't know what's in it. And then she reached in her bag of crunchy snacks. I said, Queen, what's in a Dorito? What's a Dorito? And she cussed at me and rolled her sleeve up because she was like, oh. I said, what you're not going to tell me is you're not doing it because you don't know what's in it. Because I don't know what a Funyun is, but I know ain't no onions in there. I know that. So what we need to do, she's like, I'm just work. And here's a funny thing. Sometimes, Tona, having, being part of a community that has access to information and a little more education, we have to learn to be patient with people. Because I found it very interesting in an era when we are proliferated with social media, that people were hearing. I heard somebody grew another testicle. I heard people were growing appendages, but there was not a single piece of evidence. I was like, show me one shot, one video. There is nothing. That can't be nothing. That can't be nothing verified what you say. When they got a shot of the thing blowing up in front of the hotel from every angle. When they got 55 angles of the driver in the French Quarter in Las Vegas, but you ain't got one shot of one person whose eye is sagging. Because when people got monkeypox, they go, see, I got these bumps all over.
They sure did.
See, because there was evidence. So it was just kind of, and people are like,
same with January 6th.
Right.
Same with January 6th.
The
evidence is right there.
Well, we didn't do nothing. I can see you. That's you. Remember, that's you. This is you at work. This is you in the monkey suit. But they're like, oh no, they shot the woman. They shot the woman, when they in the Capitol. All of them should have been shot because they came out to the Black Lives Matter people blocks away. They weren't even headed toward the Capitol. And they issued out the National Guard blocks away. And you stormed the Bastille? You stormed the United States Capitol? And they got in? They pooped on the Speaker of the House's desk.
Yes, that's right. Spread it all around.
I promise you, Ray and Day couldn't have got away with that.
Oh, no. Oh, no. But again, being real about it, and that's what this show is about. And it's one of the reasons why I love this this medium in general, is because it's been so enlightening to be able to speak and to be able to have my guests come on and speak nothing but the truth in an uncensored way. And it's been such a beautiful experience because all of you have brought some magnificent points and made people think, because that's what we need to get back to. We need to get back to the thinking time.
I mean, Tona, that's so real. Deductive reasoning it's just disappeared, and we don't.
I talk about that all the
people
time.
People don't think. Nobody wants to think anymore. And you have to say to people, think about why this would be happening right now. Think about what, I remember when Rodney King got beaten by those 12 police officers, there was a young lady on Oprah who says, but we don't know what happened before they recorded. We don't know what happened. And Oprah asked a very important question. She said, well, what could have been happening? Tell me what could have been happening that warranted this response. Well, we don't know. Since you don't know, make it up. What you're saying, he tried to swing on 12 people at the same time? There was no gun, so you said he was shooting at people? No, but it's just kind of like, because what they're saying is, well, police wouldn't just beat a man, would they? And now you can't sleep while black, shop while black, drive while black, walk while black, talk while black. Eat a Dorito while black. You can't do nothing because it's like, well, I remember, as a father, I told you my son is, 35 recently, but I adopted him as a teenager. And I remember he got pulled over and jailed because of the thing hanging from he had his first daughter's booties hanging from his rearview mirror. And so they then said, well, that was obstruction and his tail light was out. So they took him to jail. I got to go bail him out, go to get him, take him back to his car. Now tell me how I do this in America. I drive behind my son to make sure he gets home safe. We go 3 miles tops. And at every light, I wait for his tail light to go out so that I can understand why the cop pulled him over in the first place. the tail light was not out and never went out. See, because what they want is to say your tail light, which you can't see, and then say, well, why are you acting so fidgety? Why? Because you pulled me over. I can find no reason. And now you're telling me the reason that you pulled me over, I can't see. But now can I look at your car? No. Well, why
Mm.
not? Well, what? You look at the cops, you're a problem. You look away, you're a problem. You speed up, you're a problem. You slow down, you're a problem. You keep going because somebody said, don't let them pull you over in the dark. So you want to go with the street light. You didn't stop when I said, so they start. It's just the idea of deductive reasoning, you know,
Oh my
it's going to
goodness.
be brought back again because of formats like this, like platforms like this, because social media alone isn't enough.
Mm-mm.
The young woman who caught George Floyd's murder on camera wasn't giving us commentary. She was giving us evidence.
That part.
She's like, mm-hmm. She wasn't on there going, ah. She said, get off him one time. And then she was like, you know what? I'm not to report this.
Mm-hmm.
That's it. These people who think, shut up. And when they push back, shh, I'm trying to tell people, your hand and your recording is your voice. Don't give them more evidence. And I'm not
That's
saying be
right.
quiet. Use your mouth when you need it. But at this point, let them be their own worst enemy.
So if you had one last thing, because I'm seeing that we're
Okay.
running out of time. If you had one thing that you could leave for us to think about throughout the entire year, what would that one thing be?
So my sermon today was send it on down. And what Mark 11:24 says is whatever it is you ask for, believe in it, that you have received it, it will be yours. The idea that that vision, that version of you in you is not there by accident. And
Mm.
if you could focus your energy, focus on the you that you were intending to be, not the you they say you can be, but the you that keeps you up at night, the you that
Mm.
makes you cut out pictures and vision board, because you got one assignment. Do you. All the other spots are taken. You can't be Beyonce. You can't be Chris Brown. You can't be Kelly. You can't be Michelle, because Michelle ain't Beyonce, but Beyonce ain't on Broadway as Michelle either. You are not here to be anybody but you. And all that other stuff is distractions. Get to it. Write the vision, make it plain. Start writing that book. Start working on that script. Start your podcast and talk to your best friend. Do something, because doing nothing will get you nothing.
There you go. Drop the mic as usual. My buddy came up here and let y'all have it for the Greek gods, Roman affiliates, honey.
Boom.
And I love it. I love it. And I love you so
I
much. I
love you
can't
so
wait to
much,
see
Queen.
you in
I'm so looking
2025.
forward to you coming up here and hitting some of them high notes.
Absolutely.
Because she
Absolutely.
does both.
I'm ready. I had to take a little time out for myself, but now I am ready to get to networking and meeting some people that want to be a part of the solution instead of just yakking about everything that's wrong. I want to be a part of that, and anything that I can do to help, you know that all you have to do is just let me know and I'm there. So Kevin, please tell us how we can support you.
So Tona, thank you. So I do a few things, and so as pastor, follow us, Unity Fellowship Church Newark. That is Newark, Newark, and the A is capitalized. So we are live together every Sunday at 11 o'clock in our LGBT Community Center here in Newark, and we also are on social media. So we're on Facebook Live, 11 o'clock. And so find us at Unity Fellowship Church Newark. Personally, I'm at Kevin E. Taylor on Facebook, on Instagram, and my website is Kevin E. Taylor. If you're looking for me, it's always the whole name. I have authored 10 books. They are my life story, they're empowerment and uplift books. But I've also, and this is the other thing you're talking about, from this seat, from this perspective, I've also written 5 LGBTQ, Black, gay, male centered romance novels. And so I am looking forward to, in 2025, 26, working with a dear friend of mine, like I said, but working with my friend and a major studio about my first novel, Jaded, being my first motion picture. So be on the lookout, follow. Support Jaded. Jaded is the love story of a dude who, after 5 years, after an ugly breakup, he buried himself in work, and it's just kind of like, I don't need anybody. And one day, because his best friend's no longer in town, he goes looking for a song that played at one of his work celebrations, but he was still in the office working. And by the time he lifted his head up, everybody was gone. And he didn't know where to find the song in the system. So he thought, I'll just ask him when I get to work on Monday. But the song troubled him all night. So because he was by himself and his best friend wasn't around, he went looking in record stores. I know, what is that? He went looking in record stores trying to describe a song he couldn't describe. And finally, he went to this oldies record store in the village, talks to the man, sees somebody off to the side, but he's like, nope, I'm not doing that. All of my interest and energy is here. So he's trying to describe it, tries to find the record. And a couple of hours into the store, he's ready to leave, buys a few other things. And the guy he was ignoring with the long dreadlocks and the beautiful brown man kisses up to heaven and starts to sing the song he came looking for. And so he walks up to him to ask, what is that? And he asks, who are you? And it begins the journey of a potential love story. If Joshua, the lead, can get past the hurt and deal with what do you do when you're through with love, but love's not.
I cannot wait to see this and or to read about it. So thank you so much for letting us know. Everyone, please go support this gentleman, his books, his congregation. Please go online, because if you're a TikToker, I love following your series on TikTok.
Yeah, I'm Kevin E. Taylor on TikTok too.
Kevin E. Taylor on TikTok. If anyone likes what they're hearing, please check out our GoFundMe page that we have so that we can sponsor season 2 and soon season 3.
Support is a verb. Support her. Don't just talk about it, be about it.
That's
Support
right.
Is a verb. That is my mantra and my hashtag for life.
Thank you guys so much. And thank you all for listening to Conversations with Tona Brown.
Bravo.